This is the Gerry Callahan Show.
Well, Donald Trump had a wonderful week. It really was a great week for the 47th President of the United States. I'm taking nothing away from him. He gave a great State of the Union or address to the joint session of Congress on Tuesday night. It was Trump's best speech, in my opinion. It was the best State of the Union or joint address I've ever seen. He had all the right notes. It was well written. It was well received. It was well done. He's had all kinds of things moving forward. He got his Secretary of Department of Education confirmed. The numbers at the border keep coming in. They're great. We're heading towards peace in Ukraine. It's been a great week, but it wasn't the story of the week. It wasn't the best thing that happened to Donald Trump or the Republican Party. The story today, Friday, March 7th, is this is the end of the worst week in the history of the Democrat Party. This week, it's almost hard to believe how bad things went, how disastrous each day was. One day worse than the next for the Democrats. And now the question is have they gone past the point of no return? Is there any coming back from this week? If you're a Democrat, you have no leader, you have no message, you have no support. Your numbers, your approval ratings are in the toilet. The face, the leader of your party is now Jasmine Crockett, this crazy woman from Texas, who, by the way, is just pretending to be, cool and ghetto. It's all an act. We'll get to that. You have nobody out front delivering the message. You have no real resistance to the Trump agenda. And it began on Monday. This is Friday, and it's hard to believe this was the same week. But let's just go through it. Let's go through it. Monday, I believe it was Monday, you saw that Brady Bunch video where 22 senators read the same script. Someone gave them a script, and they read it word for word. The first word was shit, and it went from there. It went downhill from there. They delivered it in the same way. That is amazing. If this was a kid running for school president in junior high, you'd be embarrassed for him. This is the Democrat Party. Hell, not long ago, they held the White House. Not long before that, they held the House, the Senate. They were popular among the American people. And this is what they have resorted to, making a video with the exact same words, thinking nobody would notice. That's the amazing thing. Somebody in leadership, now we believe it was Cory Booker who came up with this idea, which is no surprise. And they all went there and they all were humiliated and they all had to see this thing played over and over again. That was before Tuesday. It gets worse. On Tuesday, obviously, Trump delivers the speech. And again, great speech. But you know what people are going to remember? The Democrats stole his thunder, and they didn't do it in a good way. The Democrats did not stand for a 13-year-old cancer patient. They didn't clap for DJ Daniels, whose life has been hell. He was given 5 months to live 6 years ago. Since then, he's had a brain surgery every year. Just an amazing story. He's been accepted into various police forces. I believe the number is 900 now. 900 times he's been made a police officer from different police forces in Florida, in Texas. And now he's a Secret Service agent, thanks to Donald Trump. And everyone in the country, 37 million people watched and got choked up and cheered and just thought it was a wonderful moment. And the Democrats sat on their hands and looked at their phones and put their fingers in their ears and held up ping pong paddles and walked out on a young black kid who has cancer, brain cancer. It was an incredible moment, and they showed their true colors. They don't care about kids with cancer if Trump is the one honoring the kid. That was just one moment. Let's not forget, they wouldn't cheer for Laken Riley's mother or Jocelyn Nungry's mother or freed hostages or some kid who lost his father, and Trump accepted him into the United States Military Academy at West Point. All just wonderful moments, great script, great stories, and they cheered for none of it. None of it. That's the takeaway. That's what we're going to remember, this low-class move by the Democrats, coordinated. They decided, let's not cheer for the kid with cancer. Let's not give him his moment. Let's steal his moment and show just what low-class individuals we are. That, to me, when we talk about addresses to Congress by a president, that's what we're going to remember. The behavior of this party, which is just lost in the wilderness, rudderless, leaderless. That was just one of the moments that night. You also had Al Green, congressman from Texas, the guy with the ponytail and the hairy cheeks. That guy, 77-year-old fool with a cane, who disrupted the proceedings. We've never seen anything like it. Yes, other people, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Joe Wilson, have yelled out at the presidential addresses, but nobody has disrupted it to the point where the Speaker of the House had to stand up and have him removed from the chamber. It was that bad. That guy represents the district where DJ Daniels lives. The 13-year-old cancer patient lives in his district, and he wasn't even there to applaud the kid because he got kicked out. How do you defend that? How? I mean, it's impossible. This was just such a disgraceful, disgusting display by this elected representative. It's almost hard to believe he thought that was a good idea. And very few people are defending it because it's indefensible. That was Tuesday. We're moving on to Wednesday. Wednesday, let me check. I got the whole rundown here. Wednesday, they put out the fight video. Yes, fight. And a bunch of Democrat congresswomen stood there and pretended to, I don't know, shadow box to music. I guess it's a takeoff from a video game. I'm not really up on my video games, but it was so humiliating. It is hard to believe. Here it is. It's hard to believe in all these cases that somebody thought this was a good idea. There is Massachusetts Congresswoman Catherine Clark, 61 years old, bouncing on her toes and pretending to shadow box. That was videotaped, put together, put to music, and someone said, let's release this. This will be our counterpunch, our counter argument to Trump. How does this happen? I mean, again, if this were some local election for some local selectman or city council, you'd say that's humiliating. This is your Democrat Party. That was bad. Yesterday, it got worse. It's hard to believe that after the video, the Brady Bunch video, where they all read the same script, after Al Green, after they didn't cheer for, freed hostages. Oh, by the way, to me, the lowest point was Donald Trump announced the capture, the arrest of one of the masterminds of the attack at Abbey Gate, which killed 13 service members, and no Democrat cheered. They didn't applaud. They didn't applaud for anything except more funding for Ukraine, more funding for an endless, pointless, stupid foreign war. That's all Democrats care about. That's it. So yesterday, they vote to censure Al Green, which of course they should. He should be expelled from Congress. He won't be, but he gets censured. That all you do is stand there and they read the censure and you take your lumps. It's happened many times. It happened to Adam Schiff and many others. So they read the censure, and somebody in the Democrat Party, again, we don't know who, because they're leaderless, they're rudderless. There's nobody calling shots here. Was this Hakeem Jeffries? Jasmine Crockett, AOC? Somebody said, here's what we're going to do when they censure our guy, Al Green, this ponytail fool. We're going to stand with him and sing. What are we going to sing? We shall overcome. So they told the members, they told the congressmen and women, here's what we're going to do. And a whole bunch of them, I'd say, I don't know, 30 or 40 of them said, I'm in. Let's do it. Let's sing in support of this clown, this absolute buffoon who embarrassed himself and the party on Tuesday night. Do we have the singing as Mike Johnson attempts to conduct business here in the House? They disrupt the proceeding by standing with Green and singing, "We shall overcome." And I have the same question everyone else has. Overcome what? What are you overcoming? You're in Congress. We just had, overcome some racial, barrier here. What are you overcoming? They sing, and he ends the proceeding, or says suspends the proceeding, and moves on. He'll be, I guess, censured at another time. But they thought that was a good idea. They have no ideas. They have no message. They have nothing. They are flailing. Bill O'Reilly said that the Democrat Party is on the verge of collapse. I heard him say this, and I said, is that possible? Could this be the collapse of the Democrat Party? Because there is nothing going right for them right now. All they're doing is kicking and screaming about Musk, about Doge, which is uncovering corruption like we've never seen before, to quote Donald Trump, something we've never seen before. This utter fraud and corruption and waste and criminal behavior on the part of Democrats, stealing billions from taxpayers. And you know what the public's doing? They're applauding. They're standing and applauding, saying, you go, Musk. The public loves it. The voters love it. The voters support it. The numbers Trump is getting now, not just his approval rating, but is the approval of his policies, of his actions here, of Doge, of closing the border, of ending the war, of keeping men out of women's locker rooms, are all wildly popular. And the Democrats have nothing. It's almost hard to believe that this party has no answer. I know we're almost 2 years away from the midterms, but it's hard to believe at this point that they have any hope of coming back from this, because they don't have any new people. I mean, they literally have nobody. There's nobody leading the way. Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, AOC. We hear less from them than we hear from Jasmine Crockett and Al Green, and these absolutely insane people who've hijacked the party and who are going full steam ahead, even though their policies are wildly unpopular. Again, Trump's doing great. I'm enjoying every single day. I get up and see the latest executive action, or the latest legislation, or the latest negotiating ploy with Ukraine, or with Hamas, or with tariffs. It's all wonderful, but there is nothing that compares to the collapse, the downfall, the state of the Democrat Party at this point. You almost wonder, what are they going to do today? What happens today? And the question is, who's leading the way? I mean, I know that sounds, just like a general statement. Well, who's the leader? But there really is no leader. There's somebody there, somebody behind the scenes saying, let's make this video. Let's pretend we're boxers. Let's disrupt the State of the Union. Let's hold up ping pong paddles. Let's not clap for the kid with cancer. Somebody's come up with that strategy, and it's just embarrassing. Obviously, I'm not rooting for them. I'm enjoying this, but it is just something to behold that someone is in charge. Someone in their meetings is saying, here's what we're going to do. We'll walk out. Here's what we won't stand. We won't cheer. We won't clap when the president announces that we caught a terrorist who killed 13 Americans. No, we're not going to clap for that. We'll clap for Ukraine, more money for Ukraine, more war, but we won't clap for the arrest of a terrorist who killed 13 Americans. It just gets worse and worse. Get me Tampon Tim Tampon Tim goes on. He's not going away. It's hard to believe this man was on the ticket, was a couple of million votes away from becoming vice president. This absolute clown. He might be the leader of the party at this point. He's asked on CNN, who's the leader of the party? He just ran with Kamala Harris a few months ago. She chose him as his running mate, and she's still around. She's leading the polls. If you see a poll, who's going to be the candidate in 2028? She's top of the list. I mean, that's not going to happen, but that just shows you there's nobody, there's nothing, there's no leader. Here he is with the answer. Who's leading your party right now? Tampon Tim, go ahead.
Sir, who do you think the leader of the Democratic Party is right now?
I think the voting public right now is what I would say. And I keep telling that we're not going to have a charismatic leader ride in here and save us from this. And I would argue that the Tea Party, as it arose out of the ACA, well, where was that charismatic leader? It was John Boehner and Mitch McConnell and a whole bunch of angry folks at town halls that had members of Congress like myself answering questions. So when people are looking around, where's the leaders or whatever, they are going to organically step up. And what I said, our job is of people who do have power to enact things, we damn sure better be doing it. Yeah. And we better be out there standing alongside them. That's what we need to do.
The one thing I would offer you that's
the leader of the Democrat Party is the voting public, who are overwhelmingly in support of what Trump is doing. They don't support you, Tim. They don't support you, Jasmine Crockett or Hakeem Jeffries. They are so out of touch. They are so lost. Now, I would say, I think most people would agree right now, the guy who's already campaigning, Gavin Newsom, who's got nothing else to do out there in California. Apparently, all those homes in Pacific Palisades and Malibu, and they've all been rebuilt apparently because he's got nothing to do. He's doing a podcast now, and he's bringing on conservatives. And he went on. He brought Charlie Kirk on his podcast. And he slipped up. He said something you're not supposed to say if you're a Democrat. He said it's not fair to have boys and girls sports, stating the obvious. That to me could be the one issue where the Democrats have they have nowhere to go. They've gone all in on boys and girls sports. The Senate Democrats voted unanimously to allow men in women's locker rooms, men in women's bathrooms. It's a 80 to 90%, 80-20, 90-10 issue. And it's brilliant. The Republicans should keep hammering away at this, bring it up for votes, talk about it, make ads about it. Because no one is with the Democrats. No one. And yet they're sticking with it. We saw a couple months ago, Seth Moulton, congressman from Massachusetts, who said he didn't want his daughters to get run over by boys in sports. You know what his party did? They tried to get him to quit. The mayor of his hometown called on him to resign for saying he didn't want his daughters to get hurt playing sports against boys. So obviously Newsom steps out of line because, again, he's running for president and he knows this is a losing issue. There's a kid in California who's dominating track and field. He's going to win the state championship in the long jump by a mile. And everyone knows it's unfair. It's a boy. He's kicking ass. So Newsom says, yeah, that's probably unfair. They ask the Speaker of the House yesterday, what do you think of this? Gavin Newsom is not with his party on this anymore. He's talking about how unfair it is, which it obviously is. Hakeem Jeffries gives perhaps the most incoherent answer. Again, this is, I guess, the most powerful Democrat in the country right now. Here's what he says about boys in girls sports. Here's what he says after Newsom states the obvious and says, it's not fair. It's just not fair. We all know it. He knows it. We know it. You know it, Hakeem. But here's his response.
I want to ask about California Governor Gavin Newsom's comments saying that Democrats were in the wrong for allowing transgender athletes to compete in female and girls sports. What is your response to that after Democrats had opposed the women and girls in sports?
I haven't seen his comments, what Democrats opposed was unleashing sexual predators on girls throughout the United States of America.
What? Can someone explain that to me? Can you explain that, Ironhead? Anyone on the chat line?
Yeah, he
Unleash-
actually feels the same way as Republicans and accidentally said it in front of cameras.
So keeping men out of women's locker rooms, out of women's bathrooms is unleashing sexual predators. Of course, there was no follow-up. That was it. I believe that was the end of his press conference. But tell me this. How does that unleash? If you make a law, a rule, and say no men in the girls' spaces anymore, how does that unleash sexual predators? Anybody? Could you explain that? How? Why? You know what? I think their answer would be that it would require some authority to check the private parts of the competitors, which is absurd. You don't have to do that. Everyone knows who the boys are. You could see it. All it takes is eyes, and you could see who the boy is. We know the boy in California who's dominating track and field right now. We know that's a boy. We know Leah Thomas is a man. We know all the kid in Maine who's dominating track in Maine is a boy. We could see it. Everyone knows it. He knows it. They know it. Everyone knows it. No one has to check, go in the locker room and check. We know it's a boy. That's all. You know it. Hakeem, you know it. And yet they're going to stick to their guns on this. And I'm so glad they are. I hope they do. I hope in 2026, 2028, that this is their strategy. Stick to your guns. Let's defend men, boys, bullies who want to dominate girls' sports, steal girls' titles, violate girls' spaces. They have painted themselves into a corner once again. What can they do? Can they turn around tomorrow and say we were wrong? Of course not. This issue is not going away. It was the most effective ad of the 2024 campaign. It may have won Trump the White House. So Republicans know it, and they will stick to it. The media will help, try to help. But already you're seeing defections. Gavin Newsom, is defecting because he knows it's such a losing issue. He knows they can't run on that. But I'm not sure what choice they have. They are just so lost. It is just an amazing thing to see. It's a great thing because I don't know how things would have gone if the Democrats didn't lose their minds. They just had to do one thing, not be crazy, not allow the party to be hijacked by lunatics like Jasmine Crockett and Ayanna Pressley and Liz Warren. And they couldn't do it. They gave in. They surrendered to the insanity. And now we have the results. The Republicans are riding high. Trump's more popular than ever. His policies are wildly popular, and the Democrats have no answers. We got much more to get to. We got to get to the evolution of Jasmine Crockett. Yes, she hasn't always been this crazy, this ghetto. No, that's kind of a new thing. And CNN made a really smart move. Yes, it's hard to believe, but CNN is signing its biggest star to a new contract, and I got to give him credit. Smart. Oh. And Trump chimed in. Trump had something to say about Nicole Wallace and Rachel Maddow. Yes, of course he did. And once again, he nailed it. We'll get to that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
Going online without ExpressVPN is like leaving your laptop unattended at the coffee shop while you run to the bathroom. Most of the time, you're probably fine. But what if one day you come out of the bathroom and your laptop is gone? Every time you connect to an unencrypted network in cafes, hotels, airports, whatever, your online data is not secure. Any hacker on the same network can gain access to and steal your personal data, passwords, bank logins, credit cards, all of it. ExpressVPN stops hackers from stealing your data by creating a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet. Plus, ExpressVPN works on all devices, phones, laptops, tablets, and more, so you can stay secure when you're on the go. It also comes with Identity Defender, a new suite of tools to get your data removed from data brokers, alert you when your data appears on the dark web, and even insure you against data theft for up to $1 million. For me, having online identity protection like ExpressVPN is a no-brainer. I've had my share of problems with online theft before, and it's just not worth the risk. Secure your online data today by visiting expressvpn.com/Gerry. That's expressvpn.com/Gerry to find out how you can get 4 extra months free. Go to expressvpn.com/Gerry. I got to give Adam Carolla credit. He nailed it. He said the Democrat Party has become the party of ponytailed men and bald women. And I was just looking at the scene where they were singing "We Shall Overcome," a gospel song associated with the civil rights movement, because this crazy man, Al Green, gets censured. So they think if he weren't black, he wouldn't be censured. It's just, again, stick with that, Democrats. Great idea. Stick with that. You go with the bald women and the ponytailed men. It's a winning formula. And they have a problem because some of the people who are just dragging this party into ignominy aren't going away. Jasmine Crockett is not going away. She is loving her newfound fame, her newfound position as party leader, as spokesman. And there was just yesterday, there was a viral video going around that is hilarious. If you thought, she grew up on the streets and she came up, lifted herself up from the bootstraps, you were wrong. She's a little child of privilege, yes. She went to the finest private school. She went to Rhodes College, a private high school. Her father, I believe, was a lawyer and a reverend. She had money. She's, again, child of privilege, like most Democrats. And she's just pretending to be from the streets. And the video just made me laugh out loud. Here is the before and after. Jasmine Crockett, representative of Texas. Here's how she spoke before she went into Congress. And now she's making, rap videos and posting them. And apparently the Democrats can't stop her. She's just going to be front row center for the next 2 years. Hopefully, she loses in 2026. But until then, they got a Jasmine Crockett problem on their hands. Here she is.
Absolutely. First of all, it's good to see you in the new year. No one could have told me that when I went down to Austin, now it looks like a little bit over a year ago, that I would be running for Congress. It's just not what my plan was. But what I've always decided is that I would step up when there was a need. Listen, he up there, he's hearing all kinds of nonsense and bullshit. Let me just be real. And we weren't gonna sit for that shit. We wouldn't, But when she called me and said, I think it's time for me to retire, and you're the one that I believe should take my seat, I really was kind of caught off guard. I didn't anticipate that. If anyone knows anything about the Congresswoman, they know. We showed up, and if he had some sense, then maybe we would have been about that life. But y'all know he ain't got no sense. So please give some love. This took a little bit of coordinating to do for sure. We got some cool shirts. The congressional seat is over 4 times as large as my House seat. And I was just starting to get into the rhythm of doing constituent services and things like that. We got Madam Williams, who just happens to have the honorary seat. It's not even honorary because she's holding it down, y'all. But the legend himself, John Lewis, that is the seat in which she currently serves. So she honored his legacy. This is the message that she wanted to send today.
Just putting on a show. That's all. She's not a congresswoman. She's an actress, and she is loving it. And if you're, CNN, MSNBC, any of the, Sunday shows, you want her. She's probably good TV. She's crazy. She's the one that, said what she called Musk and said Musk was stupid. She asked if she had a message from Musk. She said, yeah, F off. I thought that was hilarious.
Ilhan Omar said that Musk was stupid, which is hilarious.
She said Musk was a leech. AOC said Musk was a leech. a leech. The single biggest taxpayer we have, a man who employs hundreds of thousands of people, who is volunteering to find waste, fraud, and abuse and clean up our federal government. That's a leech. But the 10, 12, 15 million people who came across the border, the Haitians, Guatemala, they're good. They're good Americans, undocumented Americans. But the man who employs hundreds of thousands of people, who's sending rockets to space, who built the Tesla, that guy's a leech. By the way, they did have one thing going for them this week, Democrats. A SpaceX rocket blew up over the Caribbean last night. So you got that going for you. That's what makes them happy. If Musk has a setback, they're happy. If Musk uncovers $100 billion in fraud, waste, and abuse, they're crushed. It kills them. And to me, that's the most enjoyable thing. Watching Musk do God's work and uncover all this. There was I watched Lee Zeldin, the new EPA commissioner, last night, talk about the Green New Deal scams that they ran at the end of the Biden administration, hiding money, sending money to their friends, not millions, billions. They're uncovering billions in fraud. And the way to do it was do it under the auspices of climate change. Any climate change initiative, they could spend 20, 30, 50 billion, and people would say, well, you can't, criticize it. They're trying to solve climate change. But it was all one big scam. It had nothing to do with the environment. It was a way to enrich their friends. And Lee Zeldin is all in, working with Musk to expose this fraud. Stacey Abrams got like $2 billion. She's got no climate change expertise or experience. She just set up an NGO, an LLC, said, yeah, we're going to global initiative, climate, green, new, whatever. And they send her $2 billion. And what we're doing now, what the Doge team is going to try to do is claw that back, get that back. That's not enough. They need to arrest these people. They stole billions. It's criminal. And the Democrats are going to have to defend it. It's indefensible. It is clearly criminal. So good luck with that. Good luck. And they're not doing much better on the media side of the media wing of the Democrat Party is not doing much better. I'm telling you, I think the one person more than anyone else who stole the show this weekend, who stole the headlines, to me, is Nicole Wallace. Because somebody pointed this out. They said, one of these TV critics said, in all the years of watching cable news, this was a new low. This was rock bottom. We played it. You've seen it. Nicole Wallace talking about DJ Daniels, the 13-year-old cancer patient who wants to be a police officer, who became a Secret Service agent during the president's speech. It was a magnificent moment. Everybody with a heart, everyone with a soul loved it, which means Democrats hated it. A young black cancer patient living his dream, and they hated it. And Nicole Wallace said, I hope he doesn't kill himself like Capitol Hill cops did after January 6th. It was despicable. It was just, there are no words to describe how disgusting this was. And Trump was asked about it yesterday, of course. Trump just sat at his desk and took questions for 45 minutes. Just, whatever you got. This is just so Trumpian. Again, Joe Biden never did this. He was incapable of doing this. He couldn't do any press conference of any kind without notes, cards, pictures of the reporters. Well, in this case, Trump just says, what do you got? And he's asked about Nicole Wallace, who said, hopefully DJ Daniels doesn't kill himself, and Rachel Maddow, who said honoring the kid was disgusting. Disgusting. You saw it. I saw it. How can a human being think that moment was disgusting? They literally, they just don't have hearts. They don't have souls. They're just broken people. He's ruined them. They're just filled with this hatred, this rage, and they see everything through this prism of hatred and rage for this man. So anything he does doesn't matter. He was right when he said that in the speech. Doesn't matter what he does. They will never applaud. They'll never approve. Honoring a 13-year-old cancer patient is disgusting, according to Rachel Maddow. Here's what Trump said in response.
Worse than CNN is MSDNC, which is the worst. And the good news is very few people watch them anymore. They have lost such credibility. And frankly, what Nicole Wallace said, I've never been a fan of hers, and she's not very talented. But I'll tell you, what she said the other day about that young man is disgraceful. She should be forced to resign. And Rachel Maddow should be forced to resign. Nobody watches her anyway. I don't know if it's not possible they pay her as much money as I hear, but certainly she's lost all credibility, both of them. But what they said the other day, they should be forced to resign about that young person who is suffering greatly.
You know what? Don't force them to resign. Don't fire them. Make them stay. I want them to stay on the air and live through the next 4 years. I know Rachel's going to go back to her 1 day a week schedule after the first 100 days, 1 day a week for $25 million. But I don't want them to resign. I don't want them fired. I want them to sit there and take it and watch this for the next 4 years. Trump is just getting started. There's a lot more firing to do. There's a lot more stuff. And I can't wait, because these people, they just can't handle it. They can't take it. They've fallen apart. They're just puddles. And it's great to see. And I don't think we're ever going to forget their reaction to that moment. I think we're going to remember forever how Nicole Wallace, this bitter, angry hag, how she reacted to DJ Daniels or Rachel Maddow. But and obviously he's right. Their ratings are terrible. They're in free fall. People aren't watching. People are disgusted with them. And MSNBC, they'll double down. You know, they'll just keep up the hate, and you know, they'll be gearing all their programming to the small demographic that just hates Trump and wants Trump hate. That's all they want. Trump hate. That's why you tune into Morning Joe. Just give me my dose of Trump hate. That's all. That's all we want. CNN's going to go another direction. They're going to invest in the one guy they have on the whole network worth watching, Scott Jennings. I have to say, I do this every night. I try to watch everything. I'm flipping around. I'm online, and I stop and I watch Scott Jennings when he's on a panel. They put him on there. If you haven't watched, you really should. He'll be on a panel with like 17 liberals, and the host, Abby Phillip, who's obviously a devout liberal, and they hate him. And he just goes at them, and he's too smart for them. He's too prepared. And he exposes them nightly. And if you were thinking they can't have him there, they can't because he's too good, you're wrong. Somebody at CNN woke up. Here's the latest. Scott Jennings is talking big raise and big contract with CNN. Smart move, CNN. Don't give them a lot of credit too often. This is from the New York Post. CNN's on the verge of finalizing a lucrative new contract for conservative commentator Scott Jennings, a move that demonstrates the left-leaning network's recognition of his growing influence and appeal among supporters of President Trump. Jennings, a veteran strategist and respected voice in Republican circles, is set to receive a substantial pay increase, according to the Status newsletter. So they're waking up. I think he should get his own show. And it also says he got other offers. I'm sure he did. I'm sure Newsmax or Fox News or somebody was talking to him because he's that good. Again, you got to watch. He's just so good. They're so stupid. He's dealing with morons, and all they do is talk, oh, Musk is cutting Medicaid. Musk is cutting veterans. They just sing from the same song sheet. That's all they do. They have no original ideas. They lie and tell you that the public is not happy with Musk or Trump, which is a lie. The public loves what Musk is doing, and so does Scott Jennings. Do we have Scott from last night? Here he is with some crazy liberals.
If you're going to get criticism, right? But I actually applaud them for trying to do something different. And here's the reality. 7 million followers, whether you think it's cringe or you like it, we're on amazing. CNN on a Thursday night, and we're talking about it on national TV.
But I guess my question is, to what end?
I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. I mean, maybe you will get 7 million eyeballs, but what is the point?
I am not accustomed to helping your party do anything.
Yep.
But let me give you some advice. This was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And if you read the comments today, Lord have mercy. Look, scrambling for new social media and communication strategies is not a replacement for fixing what's actually wrong. Your party has a 21% approval rating right now, Congressional Democrats.
Well, let's talk about fixing what's wrong. Donald Trump is doing nothing for the American people.
And he has a 50% approval rating.
But he's doing nothing for the American people.
And so
he's not lowering the cost of living. He tells lies.
Fix the policy and leave the gimmicks behind.
Yes, and let's fix policy.
Okay. That's a congressperson, and he's a commentator, and she's an idiot, and they have nothing. That's her answer. Donald Trump's doing nothing for the American people. What about closing the border, lady? What about ending the war and stop sending billions to Ukraine? She's doing nothing for the American people. The American people love it. What about cutting waste, fraud, and abuse at a just historic level? What about stopping your party from stealing billions from American taxpayers? I think that's pretty good. I think most people think that's pretty good. She's defending that stupid video with the shadow boxing, choose your fighter. She's defending that, which was just universally panned. People mocked and ridiculed it in both parties. And this lady's like, yeah, they got a lot of followers. Yeah, every follower. Everyone saw it. And everyone thought it was just the most embarrassing thing in the world. He's great. They have to keep him on. I flip around sometimes and they have the same panel, but he's not there. And I just change the channel. I don't watch. I don't care what she has to say or these other crazy moonbats. But if he's there, you can be sure there'll be a little confrontation, which is the best TV, let's be honest. I mean, I watch a lot of cable news. There's not enough confrontation. People have gone into their corners. They used to be, but there's not much of that anymore. And Scott Jennings is bringing it back, and he's so good, so smart. He always wins. My guy in those debates always wins. So somebody at CNN is waking up. I guess he won't get his own show, but that's kind of his show. Let's be honest. Abby Phillips just sits there and Scott tries to interrupt him, but he's even better when they interrupt him. He's even better when things get tense. So somebody is making a wise move at CNN. You know what, MSNBC? You need someone like that. I'm available. Stick me on there with Nicole Wallace, that witch, and we'll go at it. Why not? That'd be fun. Or find someone who wants to do battle. That's what they should do. Debate. Even if it means screaming and yelling. That's better TV than what they have to offer now. Speaking of bad TV, we need to get to Seth Meyers. Seth Meyers is very offended. He thought the State of the Union, the speech Tuesday night, was racist. Of course he did. Oh, and Hunter Biden, this is our sad story of the day. You don't feel bad for someone this week? Hunter Biden is having trouble selling his finger paintings. I wonder why. He had no trouble selling them up to January 20th. He had no problem selling them when Daddy was in office, but now no one wants to buy Hunter's finger doodles. We'll tell you about that and more, but first.
Excuse me.
All right, small business owners, listen up. If you're tired of losing money to credit card processing fees, we've got something you need to hear. With 24/7 payments, you can eliminate up to 99% of those fees thanks to their fee elimination program. Here's how it works. You pass the processing fees on to customers who pay with credit cards, and in return, you can offer them a discount for paying with cash or debit. It's a simple, effective, and fully compliant way to save thousands every month. Right now, 24/7 payments is switching over 250 businesses every month to this program, and they can have you set up in less than 24 hours. Call 855-504-0799 today or visit them on the web at 247payments.com. That's the numbers 247payments.com. Are your loved ones aging? Has walking become difficult for your parents, your grandparents? It's tough. I've been there. I know lots of you have been there too. Stairs can often be a challenge for them. It's also a significant risk of falling. Well, Lifeway Mobility, one of the largest providers of accessibility solutions, offers stair lifts, wheelchair ramps, home elevators, transfer aids, and bath safety solutions to improve safety, independence, and quality of life at home. Most of their solutions are made in the USA, and they provide professional installation and service. Gain peace of mind and help loved ones stay safe at home. Schedule a free consultation when you call Lifeway Mobility at 888-780-7923. They have locations across the U.S. with showrooms for you to see and test their products. They're also rated the best stair lift company by the National Council on Aging and by U.S. News, and they have over 6,000 five-star reviews. Call 888-780-7923 or visit lifewaymobility.com for your free consultation. That's 888-780-7923. You know, my bad. I mentioned all the new faces of the Democrat Party, the leaders. I forgot Rosa DeLauro. I forgot the purple-haired bag lady from Connecticut. She's got a major role, you know, in the Democrat Party heading into the 2026 midterm. She's only 82 years old. You got to see, you know, the shot of the Democrats during the Trump speech, and they just show the ladies in pink. One of the ladies in pink is a man, by the way, a transgender woman. And then you have the purple-haired bag lady, and you have the ponytailed werewolf. And it just looks like the most motley crew of losers. That snapshot is all you need to see to understand the state of the Democrats. And I know I said the thing people will remember is the despicable, classless behavior of the Democrats, but there's one thing I will remember forever from this speech, because I laughed out loud sitting here in front of my TV when Trump called out Pocahontas. And you know what? He's got a lot of great nicknames. He's got a lot of great barbs and shots he takes at the opposition. This is the best one. And I'll explain why, because she brought it on herself. She's the one that lied. She's the one that pretended to be an Indian, who claimed to be an Indian. In most states, that would be disqualifying, but not in Massachusetts. We're okay with it. She stole a position, a coveted position at Harvard, by claiming to be a woman of color. And then Harvard released a press release saying they had their first woman of color in their law department, teaching in their law school. She's obviously not an Indian. She obviously lied, made that up. We've gone through it. She did the DNA test, proved she wasn't an Indian, was exposed. And again, she survived because it's Massachusetts. So we have this woman who's built her whole career on a lie. And she's been obviously mocked and ridiculed relentlessly, as she should be. And Trump, you know, latched onto the nickname Pocahontas. And it drives them crazy because it's all her fault. It's not racist. It's not anti-Indian. It's what she claimed to be. Again, it's like mocking Tim Walz for being a war hero, or mocking Jussie Smollett for being mugged. It's based on their lie. So they can kick and scream, but she brought it on herself. That doesn't stop them. There was a bunch of Democrats and liberals who were calling it racist and inappropriate. Well, sure, it's inappropriate to claim you're an Indian, to claim you're a Native American when you're not, to enrich yourself, to advance yourself. She stole that position from a real minority, a real Native American. Never forget that. I never forget that. So Seth Meyers, this lightweight, I mean, he's so pathetic. He's not even relevant. Unlike Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert, it's like not even worth your hate and derision, Seth Meyers. But he was upset because his girl, Liz Warren, was mocked, and the country loved it. And but he didn't, of course. No, you can't mock a woman claim to be Native American. Can't do that. That would be racist. Let's listen to Seth.
Cool it with a whole withered decorum dance. This guy changed the game, and these are the new rules. He literally called Elizabeth Warren Pocahontas again last night, which is both deeply offensive and a film that is 20 minutes shorter than the speech last night. I know we all long for the days when everyone was civil and polite, but we live here now. Lest I remind...
Okay, tell me, Seth, follow up. Why is it racist? Why? You know what's racist? Claiming you're in a minority when you're not. Claiming you're a minority to get a job, a really good job, and then using that to advance, to become a senator. And I know, all the media in the Boston Globe had her back and continue to lie for her, but it doesn't change the fact she did this. She's responsible. She's why he said Pocahontas and why it was so great. And you can't criticize him without pointing out she did this. So sorry, Seth. Sorry. It ain't racist. It ain't offensive. It's hilarious. Speaking of hilarious, we got to get to this before we wrap up. This is just so funny. Hunter Biden is asking a judge to drop a case he brought against the Marco Polo guys, the guys who published all the findings in the laptop in a big book, which I believe you can get free online. BidenReport.com. You can read all the contents of the laptop. These guys chronicled it and put it all together, and it's brilliant. It just shows you all the crimes. I believe they counted 450 felonies on the laptop. And obviously, the media ignored it, but it was great. So he's suing them for whatever, some I don't know what. But he claims he's not ready. Now he wants to drop the suit. He wants to bring it back later, probably, which is why the Marco Polo guys are asking the judge to dismiss it without prejudice and never not allow him to bring it back. Anyway, this is from the Daily Wire. Hunter Biden is struggling to make money and is requesting to drop a lawsuit he filed in 2023 because of lack of funds. In a court filing, Biden outlined his precarious financial situation exacerbated by the recent Pacific Palisades fire and sudden ability to sell his paintings and books. Quote, since late 23 and through today, my income has decreased significantly. He said his two main sources of income, selling paintings and copies of his memoir, have dried up in recent months. Listen to this. In the 2 to 3 years prior to December 23, I sold 27 pieces of art at an average price of $54,000. And since then, I've only sold one piece of art for $36,000. Similarly, my book sales in the 6 months prior to the statements, I sold 3,100 copies of my book, but in the 6 months since, I've sold only 1,100 copies. Given the positive feedback and reviews of my artwork and memoir, I was expecting to obtain speaking engagements and paid appearance, but that has not happened. Man, have you ever seen a more clear admission of the scam and the scheme that they were running? Since Dad has been out of the White House, he can't sell any of his finger doodles. He sold one. Someone out there, people out there, 27 people paid $54,000 each. Paging Pam Bondi, Kash Patel. It's the most obvious scam we've ever seen. And he can't get speaking gigs or sell his book since his dad left office. That is just amazing. That is an admission right there. How does it? I mean, if you were charging $10 for one of these paintings, it'd be overpriced. We've seen them. They're ridiculous. They're embarrassing. They're like some child in art class. And here's a couple of them. Look at that thing behind him. That mess on the wall. That's worth $54,000. I'd like to know who bought them. We should find that out. Who bought them and why? Clearly, it wasn't because of his incredible artistic abilities. But hopefully they dismiss this case because it isn't a case as The Marco Polo guy said, he forgot the laptop. Simple as that. He forgot it. And the rest is history. But he can't make a living. By the way, the house, he didn't own it. He was renting it, and it was untouched by the fire. He's even lying about that. The house is fine. It had nothing. The fire had nothing to do with his income drying up. He is such scum. His whole family. They're such trash. But that's the good news. Hunter Biden is broke. By the way, he's got a law degree from Yale. He's got lots of connections. Why can't he just get a job? Why can't you just get a job, Hunter? Oh, this is just a great week. This is just a great time. Great week. We're having a blast. Hopefully you are too. But we will leave it there for today and for this week. Thanks to everyone for listening. I'm Gerry Callahan. This is The Callahan Show, and we will do it again Monday morning.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, my God. Is she crazy?
Thank you. Thank you
Wow.
all. Thank you so very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Oh, too many. Thank you.